to our virtual pre-budget consultation for the 2022 municipal budget. My name is Patrick Kelly, Director of Corporate Services and Treasurer with the Township of Wilmot, and I personally want to thank you for viewing this webinar and participating in the budget process. Township staff and council are appreciative of this entire community for your level of engagement within this important process. Once again, the 2022 municipal budget will be challenging as we collectively work to recover fiscally, economically, and emotionally from the COVID-19 pandemic and service disruptions. Staff are confident, however, that with your help, we will once again be able to achieve a balanced budget for 2022 that meets desired levels of service for our cohesive, vibrant, and welcoming countryside community. As you are aware, Wilmot is a mixed urban and rural municipality made up of agricultural lands and various small settlement areas. We continue to see growth in our communities with a forecasted population of over 28,000 by the year 2031. As you can see, our population has grown by nearly 30% over the past 12 years, making Wilmot amongst the fastest growing municipalities across the province. Our average household income remains on the higher end when comparing to municipalities across Ontario. Property taxes and user fees represent 3% and 3.9% of average household income respectively, placing Wilmot on the lower end of municipalities across the province with regards to the municipal impact on your household income. As we started to recover from the initial business shocks of COVID-19, staff and council understood a comprehensive review and update to our strategic plan to ensure we continue to be aligned with the community needs. Through this process, our vision and mission were reinforced, and it's through that lens that we continue to build on our annual and long-term financial plans. 4 of our corporate goals were carried forward from the first iteration of our strategic plan, while one additional goal was included, noting the need to continue responsible governance across this organization. Our goals are well established, and throughout the municipal budget, we strive to provide quality of life for our citizens while building and maintaining a prosperous economy and protecting our natural environment. This pre-budget consultation is best aligned with the goals of an engaged community and responsible governance, and we continue to solicit and leverage public input into our budget and financial plans as we work together to collectively recover from COVID-19. Going back to our goals, the municipal budget serves to fulfill each of the core goals of the township. In terms of quality of life, we're committed to accessibility and inclusivity and have reinforced this commitment through our work on equity, inclusion, and diversity inside the organization and throughout the entire Wilmot community. Staff also actively participate on intermunicipal committees such as the Reconciliation Action Plan Working Group and the Grand River Accessibility Advisory Committee. Emergency management was a significant component of 2021 with the COVID-19 pandemic, and will continue to require resource commitments in 2022 and into the future. In addition, recent investments have been made towards speed signs and a soon to be established backwater valve program, as Wilmot continues to focus on the community's overall health and well-being. Throughout the pandemic, Wilmot continues to invest in recreation amenities, including a new state-of-the-art artificial turf field at WO, as well as improvements and additions to several playgrounds across the municipality. In 2021, Wilmot continued to grow our trails network and linkages between our communities. In addition, the regional levy of our budget includes continued improvements to transit and GRT Route 77. Staff have adapted to the pandemic and continue to enable residents and visitors to learn about the Livingston family and the history of our township at Castle Kilbride. Currently, staff are actively completing a cultural and heritage landscape study as well to ensure we protect our rich cultural heritage over the long term. We continue to listen to our citizens through increased communication channels and an improved social media presence. We strive to foster a greater sense of belonging through the previously mentioned works on equity, inclusion, and diversity, and Indigenous reconciliation. In addition, 2021 saw the launch of our new brand, which captures the essence of Wilmot Township. We continue to support community events that have been significantly impacted in recent years, and we look forward to supporting the return of a number of our important community events in 2022 when it's safe to do so. As always, we appreciate the savings generated to our tax base through the extensive volunteer network in Wilmot. I personally want to thank all of those who have and continue to support this corporation and your community in a volunteer capacity for all that you do to make our community such a welcoming space for all. We continue to work with our seniors and our youth to ensure everyone has the opportunity to engage throughout the township. As noted earlier, Wilmot has a prosperous economy, and we continue to work as staff and council to build and grow that economy. COVID-19 impacted the business community, and we were there to support and advocate for our small businesses. The Best WR campaign and Shop Local Santa listened to our business community and provided support in unique ways throughout the pandemic. As we start to recover and move forward, works continue to progress with various stakeholders and the province regarding our employment lands project along Highway 78. In addition, staff maintain contact and communication with various business development groups and boards of trade to ensure we're supporting one another as we recover from COVID-19. We're hopeful that as our economy and services open up, we can continue to support tourism, food, and accommodation sectors throughout Wilmot. Through the efforts of our planning division and support from council, we continue to achieve our targets for smart growth. This includes the protection of the countryside line, promoting infill and intensification, and achieving balance between residential and commercial industrial growth. 2021 also included a critical update to the development charges bylaw to ensure that growth is paying for growth-related infrastructure needs into the long term. The township continues to work to promote sustainability and protect our natural environment. And in addition to the infill and intensification works previously noted, Wilmot is also committed to supporting the generous donation of Mike Scout in the development of the Mike Scout Wetlands Preserve. This major investment will improve our natural environment and act as a carbon sequestration area while sustaining native species and wildlife. Wilmot Council also committed to the 80 by 50 target and will work alongside area municipalities to ensure our GHG emissions are reduced by 80% by the year 2050. This aggressive target will require resource commitments and investments to ensure GHG output from municipal facilities and fleet is reduced. The reforestation work has been supported through our partnership with Let's Tree Wilmot, and we look to improve the overall tree canopy throughout the township. Wilmot Sustainability Committee, staff, council, and members of the public are strengthening our focus and commitment to carbon reductions. And as per our latest reports, Wilmot is well on our way to achieving our original target of a 25% reduction. With regard to responsible governance, Wilmot has invested in our corporate communications through upgrades to the township website and social media presence. And we've pivoted to a fully virtual webcast council and committee structure. We continue to be fiscally responsible to ratepayers and are currently focused on an effective debt management strategy as we enter a period of significant growth. Wilmot is an active participant on shared service agreements, recently in the areas of GIS modernization and municipal drain services. As well, we participate on several cooperative purchasing agreements to achieve volume discounts with partners across the region. Infrastructure investments did not slow down due to the pandemic, and we continue to rebuild our core infrastructure and look to future needs for an additional ice pad in Wilmot. Finally, we continue to operate through a robust master plan structure, recently completing an update of our corporate strategic plan, fire master plan, and development charges background study. Staff continue to build our overall asset management capacity and are currently embarking on our first IT services master plan. As you can see from the previous set of slides, staff and council continue to put your funding to work by making strategic investments and continuing the exceptional service delivery Wilmot has grown accustomed to. A few financial slides will now show how your dollars are distributed in our operating and capital programs. The township's annual operating and capital programs are funded from a variety of sources and inputs. Approximately 1/3 of overall funding is provided from the municipal property tax levy, or better stated, 33 cents of every dollar spent is sourced from municipal property taxes. User fees are the next largest portion of funding, with the majority coming from water and sanitary service fees. These fees are legislated to maintain a clean and sustainable water and sanitary sewer system for our communities. Approximately 11%, or 3.1 million, is sourced from senior government funding sources, which indicates that Wilmot is funded 89% from our own source revenues. Staff continue to advocate for funding support from provincial and federal partners, as we anticipate a continued reduction in recreation and cultural user fees and investment income in 2022. Continued infrastructure investments and recent adjustments to the development charges rates are critical in ensuring a long-term sustainable funding strategy is in place. Total operations in 2021 were budgeted at just under $18 million, including over $6 million in water and sanitary system operating costs. Our 2021 capital program totaled $8.8 million, while the budgeted transfer to infrastructure reserves for 2021 was approximately $1.5 million, the vast majority of which is allocated to our water and sanitary infrastructure reserves. From a percentage perspective, 62% of funding is allocated towards overall maintenance and operations of township infrastructure and programs. 32% of funding is allocated to the township's capital program, with the remaining 6% transferred to infrastructure reserve funds for long-term capital and infrastructure needs. From a functional area perspective, operational expenses are spread across our core service areas. $12 million, or nearly 70% of overall operating expenses, are directed towards infrastructure and facility needs. The largest proportion of this is for environmental services, better known as Wilmot's water and sanitary system. Fire services account for $1.4 million of our operations, with the remainder of funding spread across general government, development, and cultural services. With a better understanding of where we are in 2021 and the lens of our corporate strategic plan, staff are currently looking at a number of budget pressures for 2022. Most notably, the COVID-19 pandemic will continue to have significant and lasting impacts into 2022 on user fees, operating maintenance costs, and our local economy. We continue to witness a growing infrastructure deficit as our own infrastructure is aging faster than current financial resources can maintain. As our population grows, with families moving to this attractive countryside community, Wilmot is experiencing pressures to support growth-related capital infrastructure costs. These costs are incurred prior to the building and subsequent increase in assessment from new development. Coupled with these internal pressures is also another expected decrease in funding support from the province's Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. Staff want to ensure the public is well aware of the many competing factors in play as you bring your input forward for our 2022 budget. So how can you get involved? Well, as I said this time last year, if you've stuck around this far into the webinar, you've already done a lot to support this process. Just follow our links and visit wilmot.ca/budget to complete and submit your pre-budget survey responses. The Ad Hoc Budget Advisory Committee will be meeting at the dates noted on this slide, and meetings, as always, are open to the public. At this time, it's expected the meetings will continue to take place in an online format. Visit our website for more details. As you prepare to submit your input, we've provided 5 items to consider for our 2022 budget. So we ask, what is the top priority for Wilmot in 2022? What service area or service areas are most important and impactful to you, your family, and your business? What service area would benefit the most from additional resource allocations? What are your expectations from a tax policy perspective and service level perspective, knowing that continuation and/or expansion of service expectations will require additional levy funds? And finally, what are your thoughts on our dedicated infrastructure levy? Should it be maintained at the current level of 2%? Should it be increased, or should it be decreased? Thank you all so much for listening to this presentation. You can submit input and reach us through the methods noted on this slide, and we encourage you to complete our online survey via the link in the description below this video. Stay safe, everyone, and thank you for your support and engagement in Budget 2022.